I like it when the actors film themselves doing a character like TikTok style, as opposed to sort of filming a scene and getting it on its feet and stuff, because it's like, it's immediate. You see their face right in front of the camera, and you really sort of get a sense of their spirit.
Yeah.
Whereas if they're in a short film and they're, you know, playing a DA or something like that, it's like
they're doing acting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I find it easy to imagine somebody who, when I'm looking at them, do something that they really love and really sort of expresses themselves. I can easily imagine them being Joan of Arc.
This is the Cinematography for Actors podcast.
More than a podcast, Cinematography for Actors is a vibrant community devoted to bridging the gap between talent and crew. Each week, our show offers transparent, insightful conversations with industry leaders. We unveil the magic behind the scenes, from candid discussions about unique filmmaking processes to in-depth technical exploration. Join us in unraveling the intricacies of filmmaking, one episode at a time. It's more than just cameras and lenses. We aim to inspire, educate, and empower as we peel back the curtain on the art of effective storytelling. Now on to the episode.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another CFA podcast episode here at the Mammoth International Film Festival. I'm joined with my co-host, Haley Royal. I'm Indiana Underhill, and we are joined by, as well, writer and director Jordan McKittrick. Hey.
Hey.
We have notes. That's your film.
That's it.
And you were the opening night premiere, right?
I was pretty honored to be that at the festival. Yeah.
How did that happen?
I just submitted through Film Freeway, and Tanner, I got a call from Nicole, I got an email from Nicole that said that she wanted to do that. She's one of the festival managers, and then I got a call from the festival, one of the co-founders.
They really were just like, this one's one of the best, let's do it.
Well, I remember like CFA wanting to be on board because we have a film here, but then I was also like, let's do coverage. And Tanner, I was on the phone with him, and he goes, and we have a short that is so good. I would not be surprised if it didn't win the whole festival. And he was talking, I guess, about We Have Notes because it was the opening night film. So I think everyone is very excited about We Have Notes, and it's screening so many times here, I think now, right?
Well, it's screened. That's a complicated question.
Yeah.
We screened last night before Invisible Raptor, which was really fun.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was wild. It was a rowdy crowd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
was perfect.
Okay, let's go into logline a bit. So We Have Notes.
Yeah.
Can you give us like the one-liner?
It's about a movie studio making one scene in a Joan of Arc movie.
Fantastic. And so it feels always really appropriate to be at a film festival with types of movies like that, because like you're surrounded by film industry, and so people connect to it immediately. What have been some of the reactions you've had from the audience thus far?
Honestly, people have been really pumped. Yeah, a lot of people like it. A lot of people relate to it.
Yeah.
And which was exactly what I was hoping for, that people in the industry like it and relate to it, and that people who don't work directly in the entertainment industry still get it.
Yeah.
Because it's about anybody who's trying to do something creative experiences this. You bring something into the world, and then you get feedback, and you try to recruit people to work with you, and it changes, and there are surprises and frustrations and difficulties and little blessings.
Yeah. And what have you found, like making this film, kind of why come back and like evaluate it from a film industry perspective? What interests kind of do you have around that when making narrative films?
My interest in this, so I chose Joan of Arc.
Yes.
Because I kept rewriting the script many times, and I wanted a story that the characters, the writers, the directors, the actors in the story, they felt a responsibility to tell the story right.
Okay.
So that when you start getting feedback and people telling you to do it differently, you feel you're betraying your own values when you actually start to implement those things.
And betraying history
sometimes.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
So those are sort of the emotional stakes, I think, for the characters in the film.
Okay, great.
And I guess in the film industry, because I think there's some inherent visual interest to the film industry. Everyone sort of knows that a slate goes in front of the camera.
Yes. Yeah.
And there's a big camera, and what actors do-ish. So I like that sort of milieu to set the film.
Amazing. And I know Haley is always so excited to dive into the casting process behind the movies that we interview. So I'll let her take it away for that section.
Because you had to cast actors who not only were going to play Joan of Arc, who aren't going to play Joan of Arc correctly. You also had to cast an actor who would play an actor playing Joan of Arc correctly.
Yeah.
How'd you go about this? Was it just a regular casting call, or did you know people already? Did you have people in mind?
It was a little bit of both. We did like backstage, and then it's mostly comedians. A lot
That's
of
fun.
comedians, a lot of Instagram comedians
Okay.
Oh, cool.
that me and the producers were just fans of.
Did you just see them on your reels and like
Yeah,
while
sometimes.
scrolling? Oh, cool. And then you
Yeah.
were like, that person.
Totally.
Nice.
Yeah, you
This
just
is
DM them.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Actors. We keep thinking about like the ways actors are always like, how am I going to get this job? How am I going to get this job? And it is daunting to put your own stuff out. I know that I suffer from a fear of being seen. You know, I don't want to put my work on Instagram because what if it's silly or like, what if it doesn't look good? But this is literally how you're finding people.
No,
to be
I
in your
love
voice.
it when people are like doing character work where they're just doing bits and they
Okay.
have like a just one germ of an idea and they're just doing it for 45 seconds.
Just
I think that's so
goofing
funny.
around.
I have some of the directors I'm a cinematographer, and some of the directors I work with have talked about how in the next project they're like, oh, I saw this person on Instagram and I think they're hilarious. I need to get them in my next movie. And I just sit there and I'm like, what a wonderful thing for actors, because you're taking it out of other people's hands and you're putting it into your own kind of path and control. And a lot of actors are being told right now to create their own content. And I think this is a really great way to become accessible if you have something to say. And so it's wonderful to know that that was in like the methodology of your casting process.
Yeah, in my opinion, for what it's worth, I like it when the actors film themselves doing a character like TikTok style, as opposed to sort of filming a scene and getting it on its feet and stuff. Because it's like, it's immediate. You see their face right in front of the camera and you really sort of get a sense of their spirit.
Yeah.
Whereas if they're in a short film and they're, playing a DA or something like that, it's like,
They're doing acting.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I find it easy to imagine somebody who, when I'm looking at them, do something that they really love and really sort of expresses themselves. I can easily imagine them being Joan of Arc.
We have some exciting news. CFA has teamed up with We Make Movies to get you a discount on production management services, including access to comprehensive production insurance and workers' comp for your next shoot. Visit wemakemovies.org/insurance and use code CFA23 on your intake form for 10% off your quote.
Right.
Totally.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that is amazing. Okay, and then once you find those actors, what are you sharing with them as far as like your idea for the story? Are you sharing any visual planning with them,
Director's
like
statements or
storyboards,
anything like
or
that?
I know that personally I really love a mood board. Did you have anything like that to kind of sell what you were bringing to them?
I didn't do that with the actors.
Okay.
The cinematographer and I did that a lot.
All
We
right.
pulled a lot of like stills from like the 2016 Macbeth movie.
Fun.
And and from what else did we pull stills from? That was the main one.
Yeah.
Honestly, we found the look for the first scene.
Uh-huh.
And then we pulled looks from Euphoria. We pulled looks from Chicago, the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And so those were sort of the main looks. For actors, I think I just probably sent them my first short film.
Nice.
Great, because then they know what they're working with as far as like, what you like to do.
If you don't like this, don't respond, because
Yeah.
it's going to be more of something just like this.
Great.
Now, with the longer form screenplays that we kind of talked about beforehand, before this interview started, do you find that there are a lot of like, when you're talking about, I sent my first short film because it gives them an idea of kind of the stories I'm telling, with the stories that you're currently prepping for in development what are like the common themes, or what are things that you know that you're always going to be pulled to, or a way of shooting it specifically?
One theme I really like is when sort of stressful situations are thrust upon normal people,
right?
And they don't rise to greatness. They just continue to be normal people in a very stressful situation. So almost all of my scripts are about that.
Cool.
Yeah, normal people who are in a high stress situation.
Yeah, who just stay normal instead of like becoming a hero.
Yeah.
Now, what are your biggest? So, is this your first time at Mammoth Film Festival?
Sure is.
Oh, fantastic! Us too. Yeah. What from like your festivals you've done in the past, or any festivals you've done in the past? What are your big like takeaways or tips for people who are starting to like submit their own content to film festivals, or like going for the first time?
That's a good question. I do have one tip. It's that I don't think very much comes from submitting to a festival that you don't go to.
Mm-hmm.
You actually have to go to that festival with your film. And I've made real friends at film festivals. I work with people in this film that I met from like at Dances with Films in Los Angeles. But even fairly prestigious festivals that I've played at that I didn't attend for whatever reason, because pandemic or whatever, nothing really came of that.
Yeah, right. And so, yeah, I think Haley and I are always talking about the community building aspects of, whether it be conferences or festivals, of the importance of kind of, the follow through. Totally.
Yeah,
That's
going
awesome.
there, being there, showing your face, making the friends, making them real friends from
connecting
from these blizzardy conditions kind of things.
Exactly.
I want to talk about your workflow with your DP actually, because you mentioned that you were pulling visual what is the word? Visual references, inspiration together. And then are you storyboarding together?
I don't storyboard.
Okay.
In fact, I don't shot list.
Okay.
Either. We get to the scene and we block the scene with the actors and then we decide our shooting approach.
Okay,
Gotcha.
this is a very new word. I love hearing this. This is new from, I think, what we usually hear. So how does that work in terms of time? Because are you able to say, I think we'll probably take about this much time on this shot? And is there ever a wrench thrown in those gears?
Totally. So I have a very improvisational style. I was a DP for several years, like maybe 6, 7, or 8 years. And I worked with a lot of directors that were that's why I work with mostly comedic actors. I work with a lot of directors that did a lot of improvisation. So it's like, if something isn't funny, don't keep shooting it. It has to be changed. If something isn't really coming to life to me, we'll just change it. If that angle isn't working for that actor, they might not be in a position to be able to tell. So we have to change it. So that's my attitude about stuff. And it is difficult for DPs to get on board.
Right.
They have to know what they're in store for, because we might throw out everything we shot this morning. And it's nothing personal. But I did that on my first short because it just wasn't coming to life. The scene wasn't on its feet. They walk in, they get themselves all amped up and they're like, no, there's no way this possession is real. This is just like, they have a little bickering fight outside this bedroom, and then they go into the bedroom, and then they walk in, and then this girl's floating over the bed, and then the door magically shuts and locks behind them, and they're stuck in there. And the scene just wasn't working for me. So so we reblocked it and reshot it that afternoon.
Are there any tools that you use when you see that that's not happening and you have to go back and reblock and reshoot? Are you doing anything in between to kind of get everyone in the right headspace to be able to do that?
That's a good question. You should ask the actors.
Okay.
By and large, I think actors respond to the way we're working because it's all about performance. It's literally the story and the performance, the cinematography, cinematography, production design, locations. Like, I'm hyper focused. Everyone is fully focused on, is this coming to life? Is the performance really taking off? Or is it dragging? Or is it forced or whatever? So I hope that it comes through that I really care about the actors' performances.
Yeah. I think some of the success of your workflow is also because you understand lighting and camera so much that you are able to understand how a scene is going to get built together, because like DPs should be thinking about the edit, but directors are obviously constantly thinking about like what we're doing in production and what we're doing in post in their head on set.
Yeah.
And so with the experience of being a DP and then transitioning into directing, I think you probably have a lot of success of being like, no, I know that's going to work. And we did that in the past scene. So let's do that again because, we'll create that theme. And so it's really cool that I think directors who are listening can hear that having the context for how camera and lighting can come together and that relationship with the DP can allow you to shoot on the fly in terms of setups and the technical.
Yeah, totally. If I were doing a bigger project that was shooting out of chronology, then I would definitely want to go in having a visual vocabulary. But because it's a short film, I can shoot chronologically. So we can build the visual vocabulary of the piece in the first 2 days. And then you can call back to it in subsequent days and shoot in a consistent approach.
Well, that's going to be used as a social media clip
for
because that was
media.
a great little tidbit.
Instagram's gonna love that.
Now, Jordan, thank you so much for joining us. We Have Notes is your film here at Mammoth Film Festival. What is next for We Have Notes? Is it premiering anywhere else or as of now?
Next is the Phoenix Film Festival.
Okay, great.
And it's currently running in the Boulder Film Festival.
Great, congrats.
Okay.
Thank you. And
2 colds and then 1 hot.
I know.
Yeah.
And then after that, TBD.
Great.
We'll see.
We'll see you at
Fingers
the next
crossed.
festival.
Thank you
so
guys.
much. Bye,
Thanks,
everyone.
guys.
Join us in bridging the gap between talent and crew. Start by subscribing on your preferred podcast platform, sign up for our newsletter to stay up to date on vendor discounts, community events, and new podcast releases, and educate yourself through our free course releases on YouTube. It all starts at cinematographyforactors.com. And if you like this episode, consider leaving a review to make it easier for other listeners to find us.